yeah. Woo! Elderberry overload. Today I wanted to chat with you about how to make a tincture and why you would want to make tinctures at home. I know that a lot of us can just go on Amazon or something and just scroll through and click and buy whatever we want, but you most likely will not know where those herbs or even the alcohol were sourced. It's also a skill in your self-sustainability toolbox to have, because Amazon may not always be around. Highly unlikely, but it may not always be around. So you need to learn how to make your own little medicinal tincture. And you can make it for a variety of reasons. So today I'm going to teach you how to make them. And I'll go over a couple of my favorite ones. So what is a tincture? A tincture is where you take an herb. In this case, this is elderberries, because who doesn't love elderberries? But when you take an herb and you put it into a jar with a solvent, this is alcohol, food grade alcohol, vodka specifically, if you'd like to know. I wish I had put a lid on here because it is very strong. But when you put an herb into a solvent, it extracts those herbal properties. And there are other mediums that you can use besides alcohol. You can use a glycerin, which technically would be called a glycerite, but I still call mine that I make tinctures. So for example, sleepy time, I make this in a glycerin, but I'll go over that later. So you're putting an herb into a solvent, specifically this time alcohol. You can also use like raw apple cider vinegar, which is also going to give you those other gut properties. There are certain herbs that you would not want to do that with. Same with the glycerin options. There's certain ones that you would want to stick strictly with vodka. So do your research if there's an herb out there that you're wanting to do, and make sure that it is one that can go with the other solvents. So for today, I'm going to show you how to make a tincture with vodka and elderberries. And instead of waiting 4 to 6 weeks, I will then show you how to strain off some of my other tinctures that are waiting for me in the back room that have been there way longer than they probably should. But I'll show you the 2 different ways to strain them that I have. So you start with taking, oh my. Woo! Elderberry overload. So you start with taking your elderberries and you put them into your container. You can use a smaller container if you're not going to need all of this. I have a large family. You can use, this is a quart, you can use a pint, you can use a half pint. I kind of think that's a little silly, but the point is you can use a smaller jar. So for this, you want to fill it about halfway with the herbs. Let me stick some of these back in there. And I always like to use a little funnel. Okay, let's see if I can do this. Okay, so for me that's good. I'm not really going to need a horrible amount. Put that lovely lid back on. So like I said, this is alcohol. So what you're going to do is you're going to take your herb in your container and you're going to fill whatever your solvent is, whether it be alcohol, vinegar, or glycerin, and you're going to submerge them. So I'm going to keep this on because mason jars suck when you're pouring. I'm just going to pour it all in there. I didn't really measure, but some of the herbs, look at that, I've done it so much. Yay me. I wonder if you can see, it's already changing color. It's already. It's so beautiful. So you want to submerge them. And then you want to cap them with an airtight liquid-proof lid. Now, if you're using vinegar, an apple cider vinegar, you're going to want to put a wax paper in between any metal lids because of corrosion. So keep that in mind if that's something that you decide to do. You're going to take this, shaky, shaky, shake, shake, shake. It's kind of fun. It's like a little rain stick. And you're going to shake it, you know, once a day for a few days. And then you're going to leave it in a cool, dark place. It really doesn't matter when it's infusing like this too much. You don't need to keep it in your cabinet. You want to keep it somewhere that you're going to remember about it. That's been one of my problems. And then you're going to strain it in about 4 to 6 weeks. 6 weeks would be best. Any longer than that is unnecessary. Have I done it? Absolutely. I will show you the cinnamon that we're going to strain shortly. It's pretty macerated. I like the sound. So you can use certain herbs are better fresh, like St. John's wort you would prefer to use fresh. Elderberries is fine, dried or fresh. I just have a lot of dried. I am growing some elderberries out in the garden right now. Those will probably not last very long. Ooh. So here we have cheesecloth, mesh strainer, and a very large glass measuring cup. This cinnamon was done I put it in here end of April of 24. It is April of 25. So. Ooh. So I'm going to let this sit here for a little bit because it's kind of thick. The cinnamon has kind of started to break down a little bit. My bad. But it'll still be good. Alcohol has a very, very long shelf life and it keeps stuff preserved, so I'm not worried about it. But oh my word, the cinnamon is absolutely beautiful. Yeah, so I'm going to leave that here. I'll come back to it. And if you're someone like me or someone who plans on making a lot of tinctures, I would upgrade to something like this. And I'll put the link to this in the description. This is a tincture squisher, is what I call it. I do still put cheesecloth in it to get less bits. It is pretty, it's not quite like a mesh strainer. And this is a 2-liter stainless steel. Put that there. And I did clean my counter, just so everybody knows you always want to clean your area. But this is nettle that I did in March of this year. So if you've seen my other video on allergies, that's why I made this. Nettle is really, really good for antihistamine, anti-inflammatory. It's got a lot of good vitamins, minerals. Favorite herb. So this, I kind of hold these down a little bit, pouring it. And I don't know about you, but if you've poured from a mason jar, prepare for a mess. So anyway, so this is a leaf. And leaves, or any herb really, you're going to want to be able to kind of squish out. So that cinnamon over there, I'm going to have to put gloves on, and I'll show you when I squeeze it out. Because what the herbs do is they're going to soak up the medium, the solvent, and now I get to smash. So again, I put cheesecloth in, not necessarily necessary. I just like less herb in my tincture. Same thing with the other one. The mesh strainer is good, but you're going to get more. To kind of give you an idea what it looks like. Give another smash, because I can still hear it drippy drip. Don't really need that much pressure. If it looks like I'm pushing really hard, I'm not. And then you're always going to want to compost your herbs. So here's my little composter. Just take it out. I'm telling you, this thing is lovely. And put them in there. So some people wash their cheesecloth. I am not one. And there you go. I generally just rinse the lid and put it back on. And it's done. So then I'm gonna get some gloves and I'm gonna do the cinnamon. Okay, then again, gonna compost. So with the cinnamon, it really absorbed a lot. Cinnamon bark was dried, and so it really absorbed a lot. So as you can see, same size jar, roughly the same amount of alcohol was put into it. And I ended up with quite a bit less. But it is a beautiful cinnamon color. I made it to help with blood sugar. Clearly I didn't make enough. This is my first time using cinnamon. So live and learn, but I'm still gonna give it a try. So how do you use a tincture? You use it by putting it under your tongue. You use it by putting it in a drink and taking it that way. If you put it in a drink, make sure you take it or drink the whole drink pretty quickly. You don't want to sit there and have it go over an hour necessarily. This is an Earthly product. This is a thyroid support that I get from them. And this one's made in glycerin. So essentially, do under, almost that. If it was alcohol, I'd have a water chaser or something. So basically what you want to do to make your first tincture is just figure out what you want your tincture for, find the herb that you want and the solvent that you want, and go from there. It really is quite simple. I hope that you continue to follow along for more herbal remedies and more tutorials. So please like, subscribe, and share, and I will see you in the next video.